Welcome back to the 2024 to the 2025 Winter Outlook, the first winter outlook on this YouTube channel in many years to come with these winter outlooks. And I hope you guys like and enjoy. This is back with some information in this video, but not just in this video. We are going to be posting a second video potentially tonight, alright? That's more on the question mark. If not, we'll make a new video tomorrow regarding a pattern change that could show some more winter signs going into the United States later into November. Time frame, I would say anywhere from November 20th and on will be the true winter pattern. Around the pretty much the 15th and up, it would be the beginning signs of the pattern. And then in December, that is a little bit too far out as of this time, but as December and as that come closer, we'll make more winter outlooks on that. But now with the tropical Atlantic starting to wind down, we are going to be switching gears to the winter season and really be watching some of these severe weather events as we enter the winter season, and especially some of these winter storms. We are already had our first winter storm across the west, and many more to come. So I hope you guys subscribe, like, enjoy, and share. And please, if you have any concerns or questions, leave them down below. Let's get started. So this is the pattern that could be setting up. We have two different phases of this pattern. So basically, we can have a pattern that kind of with these waters. So usually when you have cooler waters in the Gulf of Alaska and in these areas, in the warmer, where the warmer and cold waters meet, this is usually the pattern jet stream. So in the arrow is where I have the jet stream already coming out of, and you can clearly tell dips down, but especially for like with a La Nina, more of the west, a bit more warmer and moisture to the northern parts of like California, the Oregon area, and Washington area. And then you could tell this could go either way. We can have a pattern that splits in two ways. In phase one, this goes to the northern, and it kind of cuts through South Dakota, Bismarck area, kind of cuts across the Great Lakes, and then kind of sets up a storm path inland instead of being off the shore. So you kind of get this inland winter where the Northeast kind of really has a bust. And if anything, you guys just hope on the cold air damming type thing we had a few years ago with another La Nina. Or could this end up being like a 2017 season where the jet stream dips a little bit further, kind of gets a little bit more into Central America, central of the United States, like across Tennessee, the North Carolina, South Carolina, and it cuts off the coast or right along against the coast, and it sets us a storm path perfectly in the central United States, the Great Lakes, the Northeast, and we kind of have a very big boom across North America this year with this La Nina. So a La Nina, basically, this is what a weak La Nina did, because what we are forecasting is a weak La Nina. And in the 2016 and 2017 winter, we had a weak La Nina. And I actually really remember this winter. This winter was a awesome winter for the Northeast. And, you know, it was a pattern that set up was a stormy across the west, and then warmer and drier to the south with a pretty large drought across the Nevadas, Sierras, mountains down here, the Four Corners, and not just these areas. And then it was mostly dry and pretty mild across Texas and the whole South. especially the southeast. And that was like for Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina. But we had a jet stream that kind of set up like this. So you got this pattern like this, kind of set up like, follow my arrow, and then kind of set up like that, and then right up the East Coast. That's why we saw over 5 nor'easters in like a span of a month. So that was a very impressive January, or it was February, or it was in between. In 2017 winter when we had all the snow. So this could be one type of pattern, or that's a little bit extra information on what could happen this winter. But you kind of, or you can have a winter, like I said, the northern path, where it's kind of more cuts off the Great Lakes, and you kind of get a pattern set up, and more of the snowstorms being like in Chicago, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, and areas across the inland areas, or maybe inland New York, inland Pennsylvania. So that's 2 ways that right now we are looking at, 2 ways of the patterns that could set up. Now we go into a graph. This is one of the models that I was forecasting what it could look like. And I will continue to give you guys winter updates as the months go on. And I'll be doing a lot of pattern changes, updates, and what is the pattern looking like, and maybe even weekly outlooks. I'll try and get that going too on this channel. Please request what you guys like to do and what you guys would like to watch on this channel. How long should my videos be too? I might make a few polls on that if I could, but this is sorry. But you can kind of see what the pattern sets up on this model. You kind of see a jet stream like this, so high pressure to the north. You get the lower pressures here, and you kind of get a stormy pattern. Once again, the northern areas of Washington, the Alaska area is a little bit more colder and snowy, especially for Canada. And then you can kind of see that gets dragged down through the Bismarck area. And yes, it's maybe not as south. I could have maybe inched that a little bit more south, but you kind of get a pattern set up that is greatly for the Great Lakes, the Northeast, even the Mid-Atlantic, where you get a lot of colder air and above average moisture. Alright, so now we're going to be taking a quick look here at the La Nina before we actually go into my winter outlook, and then we'll go into my winter outlook, and then that will be the end after we discuss that. So we go over the years here of the winter. Like in 2012 winter, we had a neutral phase. 2013 too. 2014 was more going into an El Nino, so it was getting a little bit more warmer. Alright, but it was still a neutral phase. 2015, it was not too good of a winter. And then the 2016, the 2017 winter was like a weak La Nina to a neutral. That's what could happen this season. So that's why I'm really thinking about the 2017 and 2016 year. And 2018 was once again warm. 2019 was warm. 2020 was an alright year that I can remember, but we really haven't had a year like what 2024 is going to be in a while. So anything can really happen. We did kind of had a year, yeah, it was kind of 2020. Yes, last time I can remember, it was that even 2019, 2018 was with those ice storms. We had a lot of ice storms and a lot of frontal snow, and then changes to ice and rain. We had a lot of those in the 2019, 2020. 2021 was I think 2021 was a much stronger La Nina, and that actually kind of set up too much, and it kind of kept the colder air to the north. We never really got that colder air to set it. We did get a few snowstorms though, but that's that was forecasted. And now for the forecast here, is basically in the next this September, October, November. So we're in this month. Pretty much the peak of the La Nina, and then December, February. December, January, February. We kind of start weakening to a neutral to a weaker La Nina, and then February, March, April, and May, we're kind of in a neutral pattern going into an El Nino. So that could have some changes for the 2025 and 2026 hurricane season. That'll be very interesting. So this is another graph what we could see here with the La Nina. You kind of see it weaken down as of November. It's about here. And then December, February, January, and February, it starts going into a weaker La Nina to maybe even a neutral phase. So it'll be more of a neutral phase and weak La Nina type winter. So that's going to be a very interesting how that's going to play out. It's the CFS. This goes about a month out to maybe even a month and a half, I think. It's something like more than, I think it's about 4 to 5 weeks. And we can kind of get a general feel for the pattern out ahead of what could happen. And this is kind of a sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about in our first winter updates, maybe today or tomorrow. Just all depends with the timing. So what we kind of see here is in the next, let's just go 200 and about 40 hours out. Alright, or keep going. So we get this little rain / snow frontal thing, maybe. This would be more of a nighttime thing. We're going to get some showers. Maybe you see some snow in the upper elevations. Just all depends. The models are kind of hinting at that. That would maybe be like, okay, now we're starting to see something. The first signs of the pattern changing. And then you can basically see, after that, a little bit more of a colder. We see a difference in the pattern. Now you got a bit more of a colder way. And then you can kind of see a low. Cuts across. We have some snow with it. But we got some colder air with it. And you kind of see that maybe go a little bit more south. Kind of sets up this, not what it's trending on the global models right now, but something a little bit more warmer. But this is a sign, clearly, we are starting to see maybe that back end snow to some of these rain systems that crosses through the Northeast. And some of those colder shots, because then it warms up a little bit. We get our next cold front. I'm watching this one too. This one is a little bit more south. The thing is, it's not shooting up into Alaska. We're starting to see that pattern shift more to the south, slowly but surely. And you kind of see that frontal end, high pressure. You know, it's those little signs that leads up to bigger signs. And then you can kind of see that it moves to the north. We see that back end snow. And then you can kind of see that cold shot. And then you see this high pressure. And then you see another little cold front. That's a little bit of cool air. And then you're starting to see the pattern much more cooler in the daytimes and nights. And then you can kind of see a low trying to develop to the south. And we get an inland nor'easter. So now you can tell it's a bigger shot of colder air. And it's even some back. It's like a cold front with some heavy rain, some gusty winds, and then that back end snow. Now I'm watching this system too, because I think that is, yeah, that's a little bit farther out. But you can tell that will bring in that, a lot of that heavy snow, potentially late effect. We are watching for some of these late effect systems to be get going soon in the next few weeks. And then you can kind of see that moves to the north. We stay with the colder air, so we're continuing to move with that colder air. We get another system, cuts across America, kind of more of a cold front. You can kind of see that, but it's some cold air with there. Low develops off the east coast a little bit, and then you can kind of see that shot of cold air, and you can kind of see more and more of a winter look. This one with a cut in low into the northeast. So that out of this is telling me we're gonna enter the beginning phases of a pattern change. All right, and this will be more talked about into tonight's or tomorrow's video. If not tomorrow, then one of those days afterwards. I'll try and keep you guys updated. You know I'm a busy man, and I'm just trying to get my winter outlook now out because we're starting to enter really the winter months. So I want to get that out for you guys. So this is my winter temperature outlook, and I know I don't have any text on it. I'm going to explain it. So the darker the blue, more likely of the colder air. The lighter of the blue, less likely of the colder air. These are going to be the polar outbreaks, the Arctic blast, and you could definitely tell in North Dakota, South Dakota, Michigan, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Bismarck, Nebraska, Wyoming, Montana. You guys are all going to be in that darker blue to that other shading of blue. That's going to be where it's best likely. And then in the lighter blue, further out for the Wyoming, more of the south, the Bismarck area, the Nebraska, into Chicago, a little bit of the Great Lakes region. You guys are going to be looking at a less likely, but still very likely. Then outside of that, in all that white, like for Washington, Oregon, Idaho, parts of central south, Wyoming, north of Colorado, north of Kansas, Indiana, Pennsylvania, the whole entire Northeast, you guys are going to be looking at a neutral. So kind of could flip-flop, could be a little bit warmer for this week and then a little bit more colder. That all depends on that pattern in jet stream. But then pretty much same thing for the yellows, oranges, and reds. You guys are more likely, and it's just the opposite. It's just now you're looking at the warmer it can be. So in the yellow, you have a chance of it being a warmer winter than usual. And then in the oranges, more of a above average winter with temperatures. And then in the dark red, you guys can look at way above average for the temperatures in Texas and southern parts of Florida. But clearly what I see there is I do have arrows. And arrows that are going away and more into the United States. Same thing with the southern ones. That is telling you that this could flip-flop. This could be a little bit more south. This could be a little bit more north. Adjustments might be needed. Alright. So now let's go into my precipitation forecast here. Pretty much the same thing. You're going to be expecting a much drier south and southern areas of like California, the Four Corners, in the yellows. You guys are going to be expecting a slightly below average precip for this winter. In the orange, a below average precip in the winter. That could be a little bit, once again, push to the north, push to the south. It all depends on this pattern. Jet stream, same thing. In the dark red, you guys are actually going to be looking at way below average precipitation for this winter potentially. Same thing with the greens, lighter. You guys could be looking at slightly above. In the little darker greens, above average, and then way above average. I do think that the Great Lakes this year will have a grand slam in late effect snow, so we're going to be watching that too. And now let's go for my final winter outlook, and there it is, you guys. We're going to go region by region. So in the orange / red, it says dry and warmer. I kind of discussed this with the temperatures, the precipitation, and some of the forecast models that we were looking at. In the yellow, we are going to be looking at dry, and it could be slightly a little bit warmer. I did say that. I'm just going to do it like that for now, especially for this strip here. And then maybe parts of Kansas, um, northern parts here in this blue, cold and snowy. We're gonna have some of those winter jet streams. Once again, this could be a little bit more pushed to the north, or a little bit even pushed to the south. I kind of think right there is a good spot for now. In the pink, we're gonna be looking at across Tennessee, North Carolina, West Virginia, Virginia, the Delaware, even parts of southern Pennsylvania, even winter battle zone. We can have ice storms, rainstorms, and snowstorms. This is where winter is going to be really battling on what side it is because of that jet stream. All right. Now let's take it back to the west, and we're going to be looking at mild and stormy, basically meaning a lot of rainy storm systems and a lot of cold fronts out in the west, in the northern parts of the Rockies. Um, Once again, for Washington, Oregon. And then you could tell mountain snow, like usual. You guys are very good with that. If you guys are in the Saharas, California mountains, you guys are most likely be having a less likely below average snowfall for this year because of it being a La Nina pattern. So, in the mountain snow, though, these are in the Rockies, Colorado, all that. Just a great area for mountain snow and for snowboarding, skiing, and like that. Then you got an area in the pink, Arctic blasts and snowy. Once again, you get those Arctic blasts. You get those little quick Alberta clippers, and you get those little snowstorms. And then in the Great Lakes, you guys got the late effect snow. Once again, pretty much all in the red region. And then there's everybody's boom or bust. I kind of wanted to put nor'easters, but with all the forecasts and data I have got, once again, the Northeast could exactly like it can be said. It could be a bust where it's a warm, mild winter with a lot of rain instead of snow, or we can have a boom and the pattern can set up a little bit more south and we get snowstorms. All right, so I have the Northeast and anywhere in the gray for a boom or a bust season. And we're going to really have to watch how this winter plays out in every week and month because it's really going to depend on each storm. All right. So that's my winter outlook, you guys, for the 2024 and 2025 season. I hope you guys enjoyed, like, and subscribe. Please share this with your friends and family. And if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. Thank you for your time, and see you guys in the